Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many Albertans were intrigued when the Labour Minister recently announced that an independent panel would conduct a comprehensive review of the Workers' Compensation Board. Now, they were intrigued because on December 7th, I had asked the Premier why WCB, a system that she so vociferously attacked while in opposition, was now being made compulsory for farm employers and employees. The Premier said, and I quote, "We're in the process of trying to do a fulsome, consultative review of how we can improve the service provided by WCB. To the Labour Minister, if a fulsome consultative review is already in process, why is it necessary to start another one?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's absolutely crucial that Albertans feel confident that the Workers' Compensation Board provides fair compensation and meaningful rehabilitation. I announced the launch of our WCB review, where we have appointed a three-person panel that will represent the workers, management, as well as a neutral chair. The last review of the Workers' Compensation Board was done more than 15 years ago, making this due time to take a look at this system and make sure that it was reviewed properly.
Supplemental.
Well, Mr. Speaker, when the Labour Minister speaks of things that Albertans don't have confidence in, it's just once again an example of something the Premier wrecked the confidence in the first place. So let me restate the question more specifically. Given that the Premier assured this Assembly that the flaws she saw in WCB were already being addressed, and given that a fulsome consultative review was in process already last December to the Labour Minister, who exactly was consulted during that review? Is it complete? And if so, when will the results of that review be made public?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The review that was launched this year is going to be taking approximately 1 year for that panel to bring forward recommendations into 2017. The panel is going to examine WCB's system governance and effectiveness, the principles of compensation, the policies of WCB, including those related to privacy, confidentiality, and transparency. This is part of our government's commitment to review all agencies, boards, and commissions. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Speaker, twice I've asked and twice I've not gotten the answer, so I'm going to try a different approach. Given that the Premier attempted to mollify farmers and ranchers 4 months ago saying, and I quote, "We have engaged in a review of agencies, boards, and commissions, and the Workers' Compensation Board is part of that." Right. And given that the Labour Minister has now determined there is a need for a new review, a simple question: was there, in fact, a WCB review underway on December 7th, yes or no? Can be both.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A fulsome review of agencies, boards, and commissions has begun under this government. For the Workers' Compensation Board, which is a very large system that impacts hundreds of thousands of workers, we have determined that we need to take a closer look at the details. We are going to be looking at the governance and effectiveness, the principles of compensation, using a three-person panel to take a closer look at a system that has not been fully reviewed in over 15 years. This is part of good governance to make sure that we have a system that is working effectively for all Albertans.